Today we are looking at one of the most charming, mechanical, and frankly obsolete features ever put on a car. It's a feature that instantly dates a Volkswagen Beetle and makes modern drivers do a double take. But first, let's start with a trivia question about how drivers used to communicate. Before flashing turn signals became standard on US models in 1955, how did early Beetles signal a turn? Was it A, the driver had to use hand signals, B, a bell would ring, C, little flags, semaphores popped out of the door pillars, D, the tail lights would rotate? If you answered C, little flags popped out of the door pillars, you are correct. These devices are technically called semaphores or trafficators, but most Volkswagen fans just call them winkers. Instead of a blinking light on the fender, a literal mechanical arm would swing out from the side of the car to point the way. It is arguably the coolest turn signal in automotive history. Today we're going to find out how they worked, why they disappeared, and why collectors go crazy for them. The era of the mechanical arm. To appreciate the semaphore, you have to transport yourself back to the 1930s and 40s. The concept of a flashing electric light at the corners of a car wasn't yet the global standard. When the Volkswagen Beetle was designed, it incorporated this technology into the B-pillar, which is the metal post between the front door window and the rear side window. When the car was parked, the pillar looked completely smooth, but when you flipped the turn signal switch, a 6-inch metal arm would shoot out from a hidden recess perpendicular to the car. It didn't flash. It just stood there. Inside the arm was a small, low-wattage bulb that glowed orange or yellow. It was a simple, elegant, and very direct way of telling the world, I am going over there. How it worked, a solenoid symphony. The engineering behind the semaphore is beautifully analog. There were no microchips, no relays, and no complex wiring harnesses. It was a pure electromagnetic device. Inside the B-pillar, hidden behind the upholstery, was a solenoid coil. When you move the turn signal lever, 6 volts of electricity were sent to this coil. This created a magnetic field that pulled a steel plunger downwards. Through a simple pivot mechanism, this downward force would swing the semaphore arm upward and outward. At the same time, a copper contact would close the circuit to the light bulb inside the arm, turning it on. As long as you held the lever or the switch was engaged, the arm stayed out and the light stayed on. When you canceled the turn, the power was cut, and gravity, assisted by a small spring, would pull the arm back down into its hiding spot in the pillar. It was a satisfyingly mechanical process, often accompanied by a loud thwack sound as the arm hit the stop. The winker and its quirks. In Germany, these signals were affectionately known as winkers because the motion of the arm popping out looked like a little hand waving at passersby. They gave the car a personality. It wasn't just signaling, it was gesturing. However, the winker had some significant real-world drawbacks. The biggest issue was visibility. At night, a small glowing orange stick on the side of a black car was hard to see from the rear and nearly impossible to see from the front if you were at an angle. Then there was the issue of speed. As the Beetle got faster, relatively speaking, the aerodynamics worked against the semaphore. If you were driving 60 miles per hour and tried to signal a turn, the wind pressure would push against the arm, sometimes preventing it from opening fully or snapping it back shut. But the most famous problem was sticking. If the mechanism got dirty, or if the 6-volt electrical system was weak, which was common, the arm wouldn't retract. You would see Beetle drivers driving down the road, rolling down their window, and whacking the B-pillar with their fist to jar the semaphore loose so it would fall back inside. It became a ritual of ownership. The death of the semaphore was a slow regulatory affair. The United States was the first to kill it. American safety regulations deemed the semaphore insufficiently visible for modern traffic. So, for the 1955 model year, Volkswagen Beetles destined for the US market were fitted with bullet turn signals mounted on the front fenders. The smooth B-pillars were welded shut. This created a distinct visual difference between US spec and Euro spec cars. In Europe, however, the semaphore lived on for another 5 years. It wasn't until the 1960 model year, late 1959 production, that the semaphore was finally retired globally, replaced by flashing indicators on the fenders. This 1955 to 1960 window is a fascinating period for collectors, the collector's holy grail. Today, the semaphore is a status symbol. In the world of vintage Volkswagens, older is better, and nothing says old school like a mechanical turn signal. Restoring them is a labor of love. The original orange plastic lenses are often faded or cracked, and the 6-volt solenoids are often burned out. Many owners convert their cars to 12 volts for reliability, which requires finding rare 12-volt semaphore bulbs and carefully adding resistors to prevent the arm from snapping out so hard it breaks the lens. Seeing a semaphore work in person is a delight. It feels like watching a cuckoo clock. It's a piece of kinetic art that reminds us of a time when cars were mechanical creatures, not digital appliances. The Volkswagen semaphore is more than just a turn signal. It is a relic of a different philosophy of driving. It comes from a time when traffic was slower, when drivers were more attentive, and when a car could communicate with a friendly wave of a mechanical hand. And in the world of classic cars, soul is worth more than safety ratings. So, if you ever see an old Beetle change lanes and a little orange flag pops out of the side, give them a wave back. You've just seen one of the coolest features in automotive history.